Hey everybody, my name is Joshua Palmatier and I am the founder of a small press called Zombies Need Brains, and we are specializing in themed science fiction and fantasy anthologies. And we're here today with JulieECzerneda to talk about her story for one of our upcoming anthologies. I was going to say that we really want you to help us fund our Kickstarter for these anthologies, but we've already funded. So what I want you to do is go to our Kickstarter at tinyurl.com/ZNB2021 and back us, because we have three wonderful anthologies that we've managed to fund. And so at this point, you're just pre-ordering the books. So the three anthologies that we're attempting, not attempting, but that we have funded, okay, are Noir. And Julie is going to have a story in Noir, so she'll tell us about that in a second. Okay, obviously that's going to be science fiction and fantasy stories with a noir feel to them, a noir atmosphere, probably mysteries and whatnot, obviously, but you know, noir-ish science fiction and fantasy. The second anthology that we're funding is Shattering the Glass Slipper, which is supposed to be upended, twisted, gender bent, turned around fairy tales. And you might think that that's going to be all fantasy, but the two editors for that actually want to see some science fiction fairy tales. So, you know, take some of the fairy tales you know well and, you know, twist them and maybe make them science fiction even. And then the third anthology that we funded is called Brave New Worlds. And that one's a little harder to explain, but it's basically any story along our path from leaving Earth and reaching another planet. So it can be anything about the turmoil in us leaving Earth, maybe somewhere along the way, like a generational ship story or a colony ship story on our way to the planet. Okay, or maybe even something when we arrive at the planet. Do we have to terraform it? Do we run into an intelligent civilization there already? You know, anything about arrival at the planet as well. So anything along that path is what we're looking for Brave New Worlds. Okay, but as I said, we're here to talk to Julie about her story for Noir. And there's also a little Brave New Worlds twist to this story as well. Julie was actually invited to Brave New Worlds first, but she begged to be switched to Noir. So we switched her to Noir, and so now she's going to write a story for Noir. But before that, tell us who you are, Julie, for those that don't know, and tell us like your websites and your Twitter, you know, whatever social media you want to plug.
Hi, everyone. I'm JulieECzerneda. I'm a DAW author, like Joshua. I have 26, 27 novels out there. I've been doing this for a while, and numerous short stories. I seem to get published by Zombies Need Brain more often in short fiction than anywhere else, which is delightful because they're just absolutely wonderful to work with and do great job. My latest publication, in fact, is in the latest Zombies Need Brain anthology called Derelict. And it's absolutely fabulous, absolutely wonderful. Every story in it is top notch. It finishes with a really long story from me called Decay, pardon me, Decay in 5 Stages. And I wanted to write this in particular because this coming September, on the 21st, DAW Books will be releasing a special 20th anniversary edition of my first standalone science fiction in the company of others. And it'll have a finale short story I wrote many years ago, a beautiful new introduction from Tanya Huff, which is absolutely marvelous, makes me cry. So in honor of that, and also for myself to touch base with the story and maybe fill in some gaps, get a little backstory for fans, I wrote Decay in 5 Stages, which basically sets up the moment at which everything goes wrong. So it's one of those stories where I actually struggled to try and figure out which happy moment I could end at, because things really are going wrong. But I think I did it. I think that it has its uplift at the end. And anyone who knows the book will enjoy learning more about the characters. If you've never read In the Company of Others, this short story does stand alone. And I think that, and certainly the editors would have told me if not. And I think I'm very, very proud of it and very proud to be in there. So that's what's new for me and what I've been doing. As for my story for Noir and why I bailed on the wonderful Brave New Worlds, which normally I would have, jumped on, 2 reasons. First off, I'm coming out in a short story on a life beyond us, in which I'm spending a lot of time working on our first encounter with an alien species. So I felt, well, I'm doing that story, but mostly because I have a giant collection of detective noir stories. So the minute I saw noir, which for those who don't know, and this is what I take it to be, it's that period of time where basically, even in the movies, everything's dark. It's people in dark alleyways, it's dark secrets, it's, what's happening, mysterious sorts of things. Also, I wanted to do it with my characters from the Clan Chronicles because I want to do another anthology for Tales from Plexus. For those who don't know, when I finished my series, I opened it up to readers who would like to write a story set there. And all I asked was that it be set in my wonderful traveling supermarket called Plexus. And Roger, my husband, did this beautiful cover, Roger Czerneda. And it's a wonderful, wonderful book. I'm so proud of it. So I want to do another one. And I wanted to do one where, yes, there's a detective story and there's a Maltese Falcon kind of thing that everybody's got to touch and deal with and whatever. That hasn't actually been settled into stone yet, but I'm really excited to start writing a story there so people can get a taste of it. So for those who don't know, this is the series I'm talking about. 1,000 Words for Stranger begins it. And it's the story of an alien called Syrah who meets a human starship captain of the very best Han Solo type. And they go to Plexus eventually and do all kinds of skullduggery there. So my story will be set with my main characters from that series at the pinnacle of all the things happening to them. And it's going to be fun and it's going to be adventurous. And I've got a Kickstarter reward, Joshua, that I was so pleased to offer. Someone's going to help me design the sidekick that they have, because of course every detective agency has to have a sidekick. So I'm very excited. Very excited to write this. I couldn't possibly turn this down. I think I begged.
You did beg to be switched to the noir one, but I mean, you didn't have to beg a whole lot. We're pretty flexible with the anchor authors and whatnot. Yeah, to go back to the derelict story, yes, it was a little long, but your editors would have come back and said, this is too long. We need you to cut it here, and here, and we would have gone through that process. Except that when we went through and read the story, I mean, we really couldn't find anything that needed to be trimmed out.
Did trim as much as I could on the way.
Well, I would hope so. I would hope everybody does that. But yeah, it was as long as it needed to be, and obviously it ended well because we used it as the last story in the anthology, and we try to end the anthology, on a thought-provoking note or a high note or whatever. So we want people to walk away from our anthologies still thinking about the anthology.
Thank you.
So we try to pick a story that kind of does that as our final story. So yes, Julie is going to write a story for the Noir anthology. And she did have a reward level in the Kickstarter, but unfortunately that's been grabbed up and snatched up. Okay, but there are plenty of other reward levels available, including some Tuckerizations from some of our anchors. Okay, we have a lot of signed copies of books from our anchors, not just current anchors, but also past anchors. And of course, we have a couple swag levels left. I think the only swag levels left are from Faith Hunter. So if you're a Faith Hunter fan, okay, swing on by, you can grab a couple of those swag levels. Again, the Kickstarter is at tinyurl.com/ZNB2021. We've got about 9 days left when we recorded this. I think by the time this goes up, we'll only have a week left. So time is running out. Okay, so make sure you swing on by. It's pretty easy to grab the 3 anthologies from the Kickstarter. Like I said, you're just pre-ordering. If you want all 3 of them in ebook, it's only $15. If you want all of them in our limited edition Kickstarter edition, that's only $48 for all 3 of them. And if you don't want all 3, there's options to get just 1 or 2 of them as well. But why not get all 3, right? You're gonna love all 3 of them, I'm sure.
It even comes with places to get autographs when you're collecting them. I thought that was such a nice touch. I love that.
That was something I started.
There's chips in it.
That was something I started with the very first one because, you know, I'm a DAW author and I've been to signings where somebody wanted me to sign something in an anthology. And, you know, the typical thing is to go to the story and sign on the story. And it like takes forever to find your story because you don't remember what page number it was on in that anthology, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And so during one of those signings, I was like, why isn't there like a page in the front of the book with just everybody's name and sign right there? And so when Zombies Need Brains put out our first anthology, I said, I'm going to put that in my books.
No, it's brilliant because I know we do many times. I do launch back in the day. We do launches for these anthologies, and you try to get everyone together, and they're all in the line signing. And even if they flip quickly to their story, I think the person walks away not really feeling like they got them all. This way, they're just going straight down the page, and you can really do a little hunting, and you don't even have to worry about what order you get them in. It's really thoughtful.
Yeah, the other reason was it's very easy to see who you're missing.
Yes, yes.
Convention, you can open the book and say, oh, well, I'm missing, you know, JulieECzerneda, so I'm going to go hit her during the signing and whatnot. And yeah, I thought, I don't understand why I had to come up with it. Maybe somebody else came up with it. I've just never seen it before, but it's not typically done. And I'm like, this seems like it would have happened ages ago.
Absolutely. I mean, I've done pages that you insert afterwards that they're loose and they could come free. And we've done stickers for people that aren't there. This is classy. I like this a lot. No, thank you very much.
I thought it was a cool idea, obviously.
Yeah, cool idea.
So again, back our Kickstarter. Any last words for our listeners here, Julie?
I do actually, because I talk a lot to writers who are looking for markets, and I highly recommend, now that the books are funded, the anthologies you are open to submission now for each of those 3. So I absolutely recommend people jump on these. You can't ask for better people to work with. The pay rate's just perfect. Everything's great with working with you, Josh, and all your editors. And I couldn't recommend it enough. You know, be a little brave, send something in. Read the guidelines.
Read the guidelines. Read the guidelines. But yes, all 3 of them are currently open to submissions, and we've already started getting submissions. I am happy to say I'm not drowning in submissions yet, but I'm expecting that to happen soon. I try to keep up on them as much as I can. But we are open to submissions. So if you have a story idea that fits one of our 3 themes, then, you know, read the guidelines, write it, polish it, revise it up, and then send it on in. The deadline for the open submission call is December 31st. So you got lots of time. Okay, don't rush it and send us something that isn't polished yet. Is
that my deadline too?
That is also your deadline. Yes, your story is supposed to be in by December 31st.
Okay.
So again, the Kickstarter is at tinyurl.com/ZNB2021. And one of the very first things in the Kickstarter write-up is the link to the submission guidelines. So if you're looking for those guidelines, that's right there in the Kickstarter. Okay, back us, help support small press. Okay, and then if you're a writer, send something in. We love to see stories, and I will admit that it's a tough market to get into because we're only accepting, you know, 7 to 10 stories per anthology. So it's tough to get into.
That's still good. That's still good.
You can't get into it if you don't submit.
And we both know half the stories will be wildly off theme. So right off the bat, just make sure you know what you're writing for.
Yes.
That's my advice. And
yeah,
write short.
Yeah, I mean, the word limit is 7,500, but I would say our average story is probably coming in around 6,000 words in length. So, but we are a SIFL qualifying market, and we do professional pay rates. Minimum is 8 cents per word, and then if the Kickstarter goes high enough, we give pay raises. So, so it's all about the Kickstarter. Back the Kickstarter. I want to thank everybody for being here today. And in particular, I want to thank Julie for being here and chatting with us.
My pleasure. It's so nice to see you. It's been a while.
I'm hoping we get to see each other toward the end of the year, maybe at World Fantasy or World.
I'm still planning to be there. So let's keep our fingers crossed. That's on, fingers crossed.
Exactly. I'm planning on going to Montreal at the moment. So we'll see if the borders open.
Well, it's open to you. You can come. We just can't go.
Okay,
Great to see you. All the best. Thank you.
And hopefully we'll see you on the Kickstarter. Okay, guys, later. Bye.